Hello friends, I welcome you all to today's lecture on the writs. The objective of this lecture is to discuss various types of writs available under Article 32 and 226 of the Constitution of India. Under Article 32, the Supreme Court has wide jurisdiction. An order, direction, writ, etc. can be issued not merely anywhere in India but also beyond the territorial limits of India to all authorities which are functioning whether inside or outside India under the control of Union of India. An order, etc. under Article 32 can be issued against the Government of India, any state government, any authority under the power and control of Government of India, or any state government against any authority which is defined in Article 12. Parliament and state legislature are also included in the definition of state. No writ can be issued against the high courts. The jurisdiction under Article 32 can be invoked only when a breach of a fundamental right is alleged. If breach of no fundamental right is alleged, the jurisdiction under Article 32 does not exist. Similarly, it is not available for impeaching illegality of an executive action or to challenge the rights of a statute, if no breach of any fundamental right is involved. For these matters, recourse should be had under Article 226 to the High Court. Of course, rights of a law can be challenged under Article 32 if breach of fundamental right is alleged. Under Article 226, the High Court had jurisdiction in two matters: in respect of enforcement of fundamental rights and in respect to enforce other rights or any other matter. For the enforcement of fundamental rights, court can issue any of the 5 traditional writs, viz. Mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, habeas corpus and quo warranto in their original form or in their modified form as suits the case, or any other order, direction or instruction. Similarly, the High Court can issue these writs, orders, directions and instructions for the enforcement of fundamental rights or any other right or for any other purpose. Mandamus. Mandamus means a command. A writ of mandamus is in the nature of a command issued by the court asking a public authority to perform a public duty which it is bound to perform. Mandamus is a judicial remedy which is in the form of an order from a superior court to any government, court, corporation or public authority to do or to forbear from doing some specific act which that body is obliged under law to do or refrain from doing, as the case may be, and which is in the nature of a public duty and in certain cases a statutory duty. For the issuance of a mandamus, certain conditions should be satisfied. The petitioner must have a legal right to compel the public authority to do or refrain from doing. Mandamus is ordinarily issued against a public authority and not against a private body or an individual, unless the private body or individual has a public duty to perform or a duty to refrain from doing something. Mandamus is meant to secure the performance of a public duty in the performance of which the petitioner has sufficient legal interest. Mandamus does not lie where the performance of the public duty is discretionary, but if the authority is under a duty to exercise a discretion, mandamus lies to compel authority to exercise that discretion. A writ of mandamus is available against Parliament and legislatures, against courts and tribunals, against the government and its officers, against local authorities like municipalities, panchayats, state-owned or state-controlled corporations, universities, election authorities and other authorities falling within the definition of state under Article 12 of the Constitution. A writ of mandamus will not lie against the President or the governor of a state for the exercise and performance of powers and duties of his office, or for any act done or purporting to be done by him in the exercise and performance of those powers and duties. It will not lie against the state legislature to prevent them from considering enacting a law alleged to be violative of constitutional provisions. It also does not lie against a private individual or any incorporate body. Certiorari and prohibition. Under the modern constitutional law, the twin writs of certiorari and prohibition lie out not only to control judicial and quasi-judicial acts, but also to control administrative acts if there is duty on the authority or person acting on administrative capacity to act fairly. Thus, any person who alleges that in his case the inferior court or any other authority or individual having duty to act judicially or fairly is acting without jurisdiction or in excess of jurisdiction or in violation of the principles of the natural justice or fair play can maintain a petition for the issuance of the writs. These writs do not lie against private domestic tribunals or bodies or persons, even if they are required to act judicially or fairly. Of course, it lies for the enforcement of fundamental rights. Violation of principles of natural justice entitles the aggrieved party to sue for the writ. The Supreme Court has said that an unjust decision in an administrative inquiry will have far-reaching effect than a decision in a quasi-judicial inquiry, and any violation of principles of natural justice will entitle the court to quash the inquiry. Principles of natural justice includes: no one should be a judge in his own case, no one should be condemned unheard, inquiry must be held in good faith without bias and not arbitrary and unreasonably, and they must be fair. It is now settled that a writ of certiorari or prohibition will lie in cases where the tribunal authority of court of law refuses to exercise the jurisdiction, acts without jurisdiction, exercises jurisdiction erroneously, exercises jurisdiction by taking into consideration irrelevant and extraneous matter, or makes an error of law apparent on the face of the record. The writ of certiorari mandates an authority or court of law to do its duty, while the writ of prohibition commands the court, tribunal, or authority to refrain from doing something which is about to do. Certiorari means to certify. It is an order issued by the High Court to an inferior court or any authority exercising judicial or quasi-judicial functions to investigate and decide the legality and validity of the orders passed by it. The object of the writ of certiorari is to keep the inferior courts and quasi-judicial authorities within the limits of their jurisdiction, and if they act in excess of their jurisdiction, their decisions can be quashed by superior courts by issuing this writ. A writ of certiorari may be issued on the ground that there was error of jurisdiction. In R versus Minister of Transport, even though the minister was not empowered to revoke a license, he passed an order of revocation of license. The order was quashed on the ground that it was without jurisdiction and therefore ultra vires. Lack of jurisdiction may also arise from the absence of some preliminary facts which exist before a tribunal exercising its jurisdiction. They are known as jurisdictional or collateral facts. The existence of these facts is sine qua non or a condition precedent to the assumption of jurisdiction by an inferior court or tribunal. The fact or facts upon which an administrative agency's power to act depends can be called a jurisdictional fact. If the jurisdictional fact does not exist, the court or tribunal cannot act. If an inferior court or a tribunal wrongly assumes the existence of such a fact, a writ of certiorari can be issued. The underlying principle is that by erroneously presuming such existence, an inferior court or a tribunal cannot confer upon itself jurisdiction which is otherwise not vested in it under the law. Error of law apparent on the face of the record must be manifest or patent on the face of the proceedings and should not require to be established by evidence. If an inferior court of a tribunal takes into account irrelevant considerations or does not take into account relevant considerations or erroneously admits inadmissible evidence or refuses to admit admissible evidence, or if the findings of the fact is based on no evidence, it can be said that there is such an error. But an error, however grave it may appear to be, cannot be corrected by a writ of certiorari. In Ujjainbai versus State of Uttar Pradesh, the question was one of the interpretation of a notification. By wrongly interpreting the said notification, tax was imposed, which was challenged by the petitioner. The Supreme Court refused to interfere under Article 32 and observed, where a quasi-judicial authority has jurisdiction to decide a matter, it does not lose its jurisdiction to decide a matter by coming to a wrong conclusion, whether it is wrong in law or in fact. Normally, a person whose rights are affected may apply for a writ of certiorari. But if the question affects the public at large, any person may apply. A writ of prohibition is a judicial writ. In East India Commercial Company versus Collector of Customs, the Supreme Court observed, a writ of prohibition is an order directed to an inferior tribunal forbidding it from continuing with a proceeding therein on the ground that the proceeding is without or in excess of jurisdiction or contrary to the laws of the land, statutory or otherwise. A writ of prohibition can lie only in cases where the proceedings are pending before a judicial or quasi-judicial authority. But if the proceedings have been terminated and such authority has become functus officio, a writ of prohibition would not lie. There the remedy may be a certiorari. If the proceedings before a judicial or quasi-judicial authority are partly within and partly without jurisdiction, the writ of prohibition may be issued in respect of later. Similarly, if some proceedings are disposed of and some are still pending in respect of pending proceedings, the writ of prohibition may be issued. Habeas corpus. The Latin phrase habeas corpus means have the body. It is one of the most ancient writs known to the common law of England. The writ of habeas corpus is an order issued by the court calling upon the detainee to bring the detainee before the court and let the court know on what grounds the detainee is detained. And if no legal justification is shown, the detainee is released forthwith. A detention is unlawful if it is not in accordance with law or the procedure established by law for detention has not been complied with, or detention is not under a valid law, or if detaining authority abuses it or exercises it malefied. The principal aim is to provide for a swift judicial review of alleged unlawful detention. A writ of habeas corpus cannot only be applied by a detainee but also by a relative or a friend. Under Article 32, a petition for habeas corpus can be filed only for the enforcement of a fundamental right and only against the government or governmental authority. But under Article 226, it can be filed against any person or authority and even against a private individual. The purpose of writ of habeas corpus also lies when a person is detained under preventive detention. The doctrine of res judicata applies to a petition of habeas corpus. But if petition is supported by fresh facts or evidence or is made on some other ground, the second petition is maintainable. The court has power to grant bail in habeas corpus proceedings. If the court is satisfied that there is a prima facie case for granting the prayer, it will issue a rule nisi calling upon the detaining authority on a specified day to show cause as to why the rule nisi should not be made absolute. On the specified day, the court will consider the merits of the case and will pass an appropriate order. If the court is of the opinion that the detention was not justified, it will issue the writ and direct the detaining authority to release the prisoner. On the other hand, if according to the court the detention was justified, the rule nisi will be discharged. Since the object of the writ of habeas corpus is remedial and not punitive, the legality or otherwise of the detention must be decided by the court with reference to the date of return of the rule nisi and not with reference to the date of making such application. In Talib Hussain v. State of Jammu and Kashmir, it was held that if during the pendency of the petition for the writ of habeas corpus the prisoner is released, it will become infructuous. A writ of habeas corpus issued by the Supreme Court or by a High Court must be obeyed by the person to whom it is issued. A willful interference by the person to whom it is issued would amount to contempt of court and would be punishable with attachment of property and even imprisonment of the contemner. Quo warranto. Quo warranto literally means what is your authority. It is the judicial remedy against an occupier or usurper of an independent substantive public office, franchise or liberty. By issuing, the person concerned is called upon to show the court by what authority he holds the office. If the holder has no authority to hold the office, he can be ousted from its enjoyment. On the other hand, this writ also protects the holder of a public office from being deprived of that to which he may have a right. Quo warranto confers jurisdiction and authority on the court to control executive action in the matter of appointments to public officers against the relevant statutory provisions. It also protects a citizen from being deprived of public office to which he may have a right. It can happen that in some cases persons not entitled to public offices are allowed to hold them or continue to hold them as a result of the connivance of the executive or with his active help, and in such cases the jurisdiction of the court to issue the writ of quo warranto is invoked. The usurper can be ousted and the person entitled to the post is allowed to occupy it. A writ of prohibition seeks to prevent a court or a tribunal from exercising or exceeding its jurisdiction which is not vested in it. A writ of quo warranto seeks to prevent an occupier or usurper of an office which is of a public nature. For the issuance of the writ of quo warranto, certain conditions should be fulfilled. The office in question should be of public nature. The office must be held by a usurper without legal authority. It is not necessary for the petitioner to show that he himself suffered a personal injury, nor is it necessary to show that he is seeking redressal for a personal grievance, and the office held by the usurper must be of a substantive character. The writ of quo warranto is of discretionary nature, and the court will refuse to grant it in certain cases, like when the petitioner has acquiesced to the nomination or appointment of the respondent. The petitioner has alternative remedy available under the statute. The petitioner is guilty of laches and the petition is barred by res judicata. The court may refuse to grant this writ taking into consideration the facts and circumstances of the case. This may include instances where the issue of a writ should be vexatious, or where there was acquiescence on the part of the petitioner, or where it would be futile as the holder of an office has ceased to hold the office on question. It may also be refused if there is mere irregularity in election. An application of a writ of quo warranto challenging the legality and validity of an appointment to a public office is maintainable at the instance of any private person, even though he is not personally aggrieved or interested in the matter. While concluding this lecture, it may be said that there are specific provisions in the Constitution of India empowering the Supreme Court and High Courts to issue writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, and certiorari for the enforcement of fundamental rights and for other purposes. Right and remedy are really two sides of the same coin, and they cannot be dissociated from each other. Therefore, whenever an individual is aggrieved by any illegal action of any authority, certain remedies are available to him. The right to move to Supreme Court by appropriate proceedings for the enforcement of the fundamental rights conferred by the Part 3 of the Constitution is itself a fundamental right. With this, I conclude this lecture. Hope you understood fully. Thank you.